Hi, Kelly Bennett here with Smart Court, and this is another segment of our 5-Minute Mediator. I've got a question today from Shayna, and Shayna asks, my husband and I have been separated and living apart for 3 months, so does that mean now we have a legal separation? Great question, and a super common question. Well, Shayna, actually, it doesn't mean you have a legal separation. In the state of California, legal separation is a term of art, and it's actually a finding made by the court. So people get this confused all the time. What is legal separation versus being separated from somebody? And then in just a second, I think it's something that is really important when we talk about date of separation. There's another third one that's thrown in there. Okay, so being physically separated, does that mean you're legally separated? No. A legal separation is everything a divorce is in the state of California, except it is not termination of your marital status. So what does that mean? That means if you file an action in the court for legal separation, you're asking the court to make orders if you have children on custody and visitation, maybe child support, spousal support. You want the court to divide all of your assets and debts, and the court will do that. The court will do all of that except for literally cut the marital cord. So I like to think of it as a fine line running through, and that line represents your marriage. And the court has not cut the marriage and severed the marital ties until you file or ask the court for dissolution. Now, legal separation or being legally separated is a judgment that you get from the court. We often do this in mediation as well. And I want to jump over here to the other topic of date of separation. What is that compared to a legal separation? The date of separation is also a finding by the court. And by the way, in mediation, you can agree to what the date of separation is. That's the beauty of mediation. But it is a finding by the court of when at least one of the partners in a marriage has decided and formed an intent to no longer continue in the marriage, and that intent has been communicated either verbally or by clear express behavior. So what's an example of this? Well, we've had a recession that hopefully we're coming out of, but it's been going on since around 2006, 2007. And what we saw is a trend in people needing to get divorced or a legal separation. Instead of moving out and being physically separated like Shayna, you and your spouse are, they couldn't afford to. So they lived in the same home, but they would move into separate bedrooms. Now, that alone probably isn't enough for the court to find that you've made an intention and communicated an intent to no longer continue with the marriage. But if it's coupled with a communication like, I'm moving into the bedroom and I don't want to be married to you anymore, and you put it in writing or verbally, and you don't do all those other things that husbands and wives typically do, like continue to sleep in the same bed together. I know that's getting a little personal, but that's what it is. Going to marriage counseling together, attending events together, those things can be conflicting with what you may say is your intent to no longer remain in the marriage. So it needs to be verbally communicated or put in writing, and the actions need to match. Now, the other thing that's so important about the date of separation is this. As of the date of separation, so whether you agree on it in mediation or the court says, I'm making a finding that this is the date of separation, as of that date, any income either of you make from your work is typically your separate property income. Any debts that you go and incur after the date of separation is your separate property debt. So you can see that that has a big impact on your divorce or your legal separation action, because after that date, it's no longer community property income that you're earning. It's all your separate property that is not subject to being divided. Same thing with the debt. If you incur a bunch of debt after that date of separation, 99% of the time the court's going to find that that's 100% your debt. So I hope that was helpful to you, Shayna. No, you don't have a legal separation. You have to file for it. You have to ask the court for it. Or if you come into mediation, we can certainly help you and your spouse agree on what that date of separation is and obtain a legal separation or a divorce completely outside of the courthouse and in a wonderful, more enjoyable environment.